The lesson.
Oh yeah.
And then, so I guess that brings me to, the topic of production, because, I know you as a DJ.
Mm-hmm.
But the interesting thing is like, I think one of the key differences, and you can sort of correct me if I'm wrong here, but with hip hop, you got DJs who are just DJs.
Mm-hmm.
You got producers who are just producers. And then you've also got a bucket or a handful that are producers but DJ out at parties and clubs as well. With EDM, I find that pretty much all your DJs, particularly your bigger name DJs, are all also producers.
Yeah.
Is that a safe?
Yeah, man,
sort of?
100%. Like, I think you couldn't be a DJ these days without having your own music.
Yeah.
It's kind of just
in EDM.
Yeah,
in the EDM bucket. It kind of goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's people. I think it comes down to it. I guess as a DJ, you have your own sound. Like, people go to hear your particular style or flavor of hip hop, and it's like the same with EDM music because it's a lot more simpler beats and stuff. Really, it's just like melodies and kick drums and claps and stuff. You got to really have your own sound for people to connect to.
Yeah. So if you're just simply playing everyone else's music, you don't really have
your own sound. And back in the day, there was guys back when EDM wasn't so saturated, but now that it is so saturated, you really have to have your niche.
Yeah.
You got to have your niche, and people need to have that to connect with, I think.
And then that leads me to the point of when you've got your hip hop and R&B DJs, a lot of them, particularly back in the day, maybe not so much now, but there's the whole turntable aspect. There's the scratching, there's the beat juggling, live remixing. There can be a fair bit of hands-on shit that you can do. With electronic dance music, it's not really that sort of genre, is it, where you can do much with the music other than mix it?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the actual sort of technical aspect of what you do, obviously song selection is the thing in my eyes that separates the good DJs from the bad.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, anyone can, you can't take that away from a good DJ in my eyes. But yeah, I mean, the magic with a DJ really happens in the studio. It's having those tracks that no one else has and having your own tracks that you've just played and just made the other night that no one else can play because they're yours. Is what people kind of go and see you for, I think.
So then did you get into the production side of things at the same time as DJing, or did one come before the other?
I think, I'd say production because I was producing before I was getting gigs.
Yeah, right.
I was learning to produce. Nothing was getting released or anything like that, but, I was making music and putting it on my SoundCloud and showing my mates and learning how to produce before I was getting booked. And I think that's, how it should be.
Is that generally speaking the way it happens in EDM? Because in hip hop, it tends to be a bit reverse. Like, guys start DJing, and then get more into
I don't want to get too much into it in this convo because it is a little bit of a touchy subject. But there is people out there that have a big social following, and they don't necessarily actually even make the music that they release.
Yeah, okay.
But ghost produced.
Oh, okay.
So it's you might have a big following online, social media, and you can just get someone else to make music and you just pretend like it's yours.
So ghost production happens in EDM music.
Absolutely. A lot.
See that, because that's really interesting because in hip hop you have ghostwriters.
Yeah.
And some of your biggest guys like Puff Daddy and I don't know. There's a whole bunch of them, man. I would only know 0.5% of everyone who's got shit ghostwritten for them.
Yeah.
Because they try to keep that shit on the wraps, but some of it just comes out. And there's this whole thing about Drake. The people, has he got ghostwriters, and it was a big topic of conversation a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was when that because I think Meek Mill took shots at him for having a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
And Drake's the biggest urban artist arguably at the moment or at the time. So that was a big thing, but then I spoke to a hip hop producer, Apollo Brown from Detroit. He's a very, very prominent hip hop producer, and he said that ghost production in hip hop, it's not really a thing. Not like ghostwriting in hip hop.
Yeah.
But you're saying in EDM, sounds like ghostwriting in hip hop with the lyrics is kind of like what's going on in EDM, but with the beats.
Yeah, in a sense. I mean, I guess with hip hop, at the end of the day, the person that you can't fake delivering that song. You know, it's still their voice. They've still got some talent. But there is it's a fine line between like having creative input on something, because there's guys, like, I'm not going to name any names, but there's guys I have absolute 100% respect for that make amazing music, but they don't do the fine detail in the studio, but they do come up with the melodies in their songs.
Yeah,
they're incredibly good at it. So it's a fine line. It's the same with Drake, like you're saying, like Drake might not write every word of his lyrics, but his delivery of it is what makes it good.
Yeah.
And same way with DJs in a sense.
Yeah.
But it's such a touchy subject, because it's like everyone has a different opinion of it, I think. And that's why I just like don't want to talk about it too much, because I'll say something that will get misinterpreted, and it's such a touchy subject. But it is, and that's just business, really, isn't it? At the end of the day, when there's a business, someone's gonna do business, you know.
But I guess from your own personal, creative standpoint, it's not something that you would personally do?
Oh, no, I've never actually done it. I've been approached to do it a couple times, but I've just sort of never had the want to do it, really. I've always just been focused on writing my own music, and it's something that I take pride in, the fact that I've, from start to finish, what my fans hear is me, and that's, I don't know, it doesn't mean much to some people, but I get a kick out of it. It's one of the reasons why I do this, is because I like, when someone's dancing to our song, they're dancing to my song. Not some song that I paid someone $1,000 to go and make,
Yeah. And then so when someone approached you, or someone has approached you, they've approached you to do that role, to be like a guy in the background to maybe help tweak and twist shit.
Yeah, I mean, I've done like I wouldn't even call it ghost production. Like I do, like, because I'm sort of quite technical as well. I do mixing and mastering and stuff, and I've mixed and mastered tracks for people.
That's different.
But that's completely different. You know what I mean? That's not, it is creative, but it's not.
Nah, that's more the technical aspect of the sound engineering.
Yeah,
and I think with that sort of stuff, like you get your own credits if you mix and master something.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I've never seen credits for mix and mastering.
Yeah, but see, that's different to ghost production. Ghost production is like kind of coming up with the guts.
It's coming up with the song.
Yeah, and then someone else getting credited for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, see, I didn't really know that was a thing that goes on in electronic dance music.
I guess the more that something becomes mainstream, and the more that like someone with an existing, following can, because like we were saying before, like your interpretation of it was like almost all DJs have songs out. You know what I mean? And have music out, and it's like it's kind of an expectation.
That's. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm correct.
Yeah.
That's just
it's definitely it's pretty spot on. Like you're kind of expected as a DJ to have your own music, and if you can't make your own music,
then it's kind of
got to get someone to make your music.
The lesson.
Oh yeah.